Good morning everyone. I've just done my engine checks and fired up the old girl. You can probably hear her thumping away in the background. I had a lovely night last night. My friends Jay and Deb moored in front of me. What a lovely surprise. And we sat out, we had a little bit of a fire pit and it was lovely catching up. And little Bonny was off a lead with their little dog Martha and Chico, so she was really good. But she is still a bugger with dogs. She's very reactive, fear aggression, and she launches and barks at them. So we're still working on Bonny's socialisation. That's the joys. But anyway, I'm going to get her ready now and then we'll set off. We're going on the roof. We're going on the roof. You love going on the roof, don't you? Always put your bra on. Good girl. Yes. Come on. So today we're hoping to make our way to Fradley Junction. So recently, quite a few people have asked what my backstory is. What did I used to do and what had brought me to living on a boat? Now I did cover this in my earlier videos, so I just thought I'd go over that again and fill you all in, because I've had so many people asking about it. So basically, I was a teacher. I was a teacher for 13 years full-time and then a couple of years part-time afterwards. But I always loved to travel and I'd go away for 5 or 6 weeks at a time. I've been all across Europe backpacking. I've been to Thailand quite a few times. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to India. I've been to Africa. Yeah, I just love to travel. So my taste for travel started in my final year at university because I set up a project out in Africa. And I went out there and I worked with children in townships living in mud huts on a big musical project. And they didn't have anything, no musical instruments. So we made music using car wheels, drain pipes cut to different sizes to get different pitches. We made these huge musical sculptures that we played and travelled around with. And it was an absolutely amazing project. But I loved my time in Africa. You know, I was staying in different people's houses, travelling around, staying in mud huts. And I was just so welcomed by all the lovely people and I loved all the traditions. I drank Zulu beer out of a pot. Yeah, it was left under the ground to ferment and I was drinking it and I was just so looked after. I loved it. And that then made me want to go and see other places and experience other cultures. But I really did love my time in Africa. And then I came back, you know, finished university, got a job, did the usual thing, but I still travelled. All my summers, I still kept travelling. And it wasn't until I returned to Africa and went to India and I returned back and I thought to myself, what am I doing? I've got a really stressful job. I'm in debt, you know, I've got a mortgage, I've got a car on finance that I'm paying just to get to work, to come back, to pay the bills. I thought, there's got to be more to life than this. And I decided then to just sell my house, give my job up, paid off everything I had, all the debts, sold my car and bought a boat. And I'd always loved boats. So I've got a lot coming up very shortly, and when I do get to the lock landing I will put little Bonny inside because I don't know how she's going to be on the roof if I'm off the boat doing a lock. I don't want to try to get off the boat, so I'm not comfortable with that yet. One day if somebody does come cruising with me and does the locks for me, then I can stay on the boat with Bonny on the roof and see how she is. But at the moment, yeah, I don't want to risk it, not just yet. We're taking it slow, aren't we? And she's doing amazing. She's doing amazing. Love her to bits. long. Have you, Teddy? I'm going to be half an hour at the most. Yeah? Be a good girl. Be a good girl for mummy. So I'm at Wood End Lock 20, and luckily this gentleman's coming up and he's offered to do the lock for me, so that's saves me a bit of time. Bless him. It's only a shallow lock, this one, it's not too bad. So I'm coming up now to Fradley Junction, and this junction will take me off the Trent Mersey Canal onto the Coventry Canal. I'm hoping that I can get moored at the top if I can, because I'd like to spend some time in the area, do a bit of exploring. There's some lovely walks for little Bonny, and there's also some bins here, and I'm desperate to get rid of some rubbish and recycling. So yeah, fingers crossed I can get a mooring up here. Bit bloody shallow. I absolutely cocked up this mooring up, I really did. I had two things going against me. One was the wind, and two, as soon as I was coming in, because it was coming in really well, it was just very shallow and it just threw me back out again, and I have to step off the back. But luckily this lovely gentleman and boater asked me to throw him the rope and he pulled me in. Yeah, oh bless him. I mean, if he hadn't been there I would have just reversed out and tried again, but the joys of boating. So I've just got the last spot at the top of Fradley Locks, and I'm going to stay here now for a few days. I've got sunshine on my solar panels, and what more do you need? Free electric. Good morning everyone, I'm here at the Laughing Duck Cafe and I'm here with Melissa. We're having a lovely coffee first thing in the morning, and then we're going to go and take the dogs to the nature reserve just over there and do a bit of dogging. Hey. So this used to be a water reservoir, but now it's a beautiful nature reserve, and there's flowers, birds, insects, fish, all wildlife. There's even bats, and there's also bird hides that you can go into. There's carving, there's sculptures, there's also these little signs which tell you about the little insects or small animals and their habitats. So it's a great little place to come. We're here at this lovely lake having an amazing time. We feel like we're on holiday, don't we, Melissa?
Yeah, we are. The sun's shining, getting us nicely tanned.
Beautiful.
Sunburnt, probably.
I've still got my nipple warmer on. That's only because I've got loads of things in my pocket. Got all Bonny's treats and that.
Yeah.
So we're just on the way back from our lovely walk, and we passed the Narrowboat Flat Capper, and the owner Barnsley comes out and gives me a big bottle of rum. Thank you.
Thank you, not a problem.
I'll see you in the pub later.
Ah, what, 12 o'clock?
No, tonight.
Lightweight, you're lightweight, aren't you?
So we're just walking to the pub now with some fellow boaters, and the pub's called the Swan. However, all the boaters and the locals call it the Mucky Duck. Yeah, so let's hope there's no mucky shenanigans going on in there tonight.
My mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Don't ever play with guns, but I shot a man in Reno. Just before you die. When I hit that pistol, I hit my head and cried.
So I'm here today at Fradley Junction and I've bumped into two really good friends of mine. I've known these since I've had a boat, 11 years. And these guys are some of the original traders. They've been doing it for over 30 years. They're a blacksmith. He's got a real forge on the boat and I'm going to show you a little bit about that today. I love these here. These are pokers. I love a good poker. Don't you? Don't be rude. Look at this one. It's a treble clef. It's absolutely amazing. Fantastic. All made by hand. So this is Jane and Brian and we're going to find out now how long they've been on a boat, how long they've been doing this and everything else.
Well, we've lived on board Emily for 34 years. I'm going to get the dates wrong now. We have had Bronte 30 years. So Brian's been a blacksmith on here for 30 years and we've lived on Emily for 34 years. We've never looked back, have we? Enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
And you've brought children up on there, haven't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we had 2 children on there, a boy and a girl. They're now 29 and 31. So, yeah, that was, well, they enjoyed it. I think it was the best life because sort of living on the towpath, there were other children there to play with. Everybody knew everybody, like an old-fashioned community, really. Felt very safe. So I started blacksmithing when I was about 21, just after I'd finished an engineering apprenticeship. So I've been blacksmithing over 40 years now. But when I used to have a land-based workshop near Skipton in Yorkshire, and then we decided to live on a canal boat, bought a canal boat. We'd travelled around for a few years and we used to get jobs. I used to get jobs in engineering just for like a few months and then travel again. But then we sort of decided I wanted to be self-employed again and I wanted to be a blacksmith again. So the answer to that was to build Bronte. So it's a canal boat with a fully working blacksmith workshop inside. It also gave us a little bit more room in Emily because we took the engine out and made that into a little cabin for the newly born son of ours.
So they've been on the water 34 years. That's longer than I'd been born. Don't be rude. Anyway, so we'll find out now how it was having kids on a boat back in the olden days.
Yes, I had Lewis and we made the back cabin of Emily into his nursery and bedroom. We continued cruising the waterways, which was lovely. Had the best life ever. Then Frances came along, our daughter. So they had to obviously share the back cabin when they were kids, but they thrived on the waterways. They absolutely loved it. They met some wonderful people, lots of fantastic adventures in the woods, and they had a little dinghy and they used to think they were swallows and Amazons and trail up and down the river and rescue people. And
Were they homeschooled?
No, they went to school. We were on the Kennet and Avon for a lot of years and they went to school there. I don't think I've got the patience to teach my own children. But yeah, they had the best life and they had lots of friends and they felt very comforted and loved by the community down there. There were always somebody to talk to and watch out for them. And they did very well at school. My son went to Oxford and did Russian and German. And and my daughter went to Sheffield. They both got masters degrees and goodness knows what, so they did all right for gypsies' children.
So Brian and Jane have got 2 boats. They've got Bronte and Emily. So we're going to find out a little bit now about this end one here, Bronte, because Brian made it.
So Emily was the first boat that we bought, Emily, and lived on her for quite a while. And then, as I said before, I decided to build Bronte with the Blacksmith's Forge on. So a lot of people think that we're actually towing Bronte behind, but in actual fact we're pushing. So we took the engine out of Emily, which created a space for a little cabin for the children, and we put it into Bronte. But to build Bronte, where my mother lived, there was a car park out the front, so I decided to build it there, which was like on the side of a road. But the winter when I was building it was very, very wet winter, and the valley below all flooded. And because Bronte was up on a framework to keep her flat and you could see the whole hull in the water, everybody kept saying, "Do you know something we don't?" Because it looked very much like Noah's Ark, so it looked like I'd got the word that we needed to be in a boat. So that was quite amusing, really. It took quite a while to build because I sort of ran out of money halfway through. I had to get a proper job for a bit. So in all it was like 3 years before I'd actually managed to float, or managed to launch Bronte. But there's a lot of work in building a boat, even a short boat. There's nearly as much work as a long one.
So this is my favourite thing of Brian's. I just absolutely love it, all the detail and everything. So I'm going to get Brian to tell us a little bit about it because it's took him so long to make it. It's completely unique the way he's done it. Look at all the work that has gone into that.
Right, this is my take on a dragon. Also shows you a lot of different skills of the blacksmith. This body part is called a cage twist. So it's like 5 pieces of metal welded together at the end. Then you got to, they're straight to start with. Then you've got to heat it up. You've got to get a very even heat. So you don't want one part any hotter than the other. And then you twist it up and that becomes, it's twisted but in a straight line. And then you got to reheat it again making sure you got a nice even heat. And then you twist it backwards while actually pushing, and that opens it up. The other things I've got simple twists, which are these. The head, that's quite a tricky thing to do. You got to taper this part and then split it down the middle. And the eye punching is quite tricky as well. I've made special punches, one which does a circle, one which does like a little centre. But before you do the eyes, you've got to hammer these sort of eye sockets.
So not only is Brian a true craftsman, but he's also a very talented artist. So we've just got home now and it's rum time. So Ian said to me, instead of now having a little tot, we should have a little tit. How rude! Anyway, we're going to try this rum today, and just whilst I'm pouring this, a massive shout out to all those that bought me a coffee this week. Thank you so much, it really does help. Will I get in there? Oh, look at that! I think that's a double. So I've brought you here in the rear entrance, and this is a pure single rum. I think this one was from Alex, I can't remember, so apologies if it's not, but let's give it a try. Whoo! It tastes very much like a whiskey rather than a rum. It's very strong. Have another. Anyway, I've got 2 ditties for you today. Yeah, and don't forget, if you do want to send a little ditty in, please do. I am saving them all, so don't worry if yours hasn't been read out yet and it's appropriate for whatever we're doing at the time. I will be reading it out. So the first one is from Debs W, and it goes a little something like this. Heidi, dear Heidi, on the rum wench you ride. Heidi, dear Heidi, you sail along with pride. Cruising or boozing from your back room, or mopping your deck with somebody else's broom. Thanks, Nick. No short of adventures with you and your puppy. Both of you are so very lucky. Moving along the canals so narrow, hope you don't run into your rival, Jack Sparrow. Heidi, dear Heidi, what can I say? Heidi, dear Heidi, watching you makes my day. Oh, thank you, Debs. That's lovely, that. Anyway, the next one is quite short, and it's from Will Duckworth on Narrowboat Rainboat. Heidi the pirate asked us for some ditties. How do I write one without saying titties? I know, I've got a good idea. Instead of her front, I'll talk about her rear. Talking about my rear, the blacksmith boat is going to be fettling with me back doors very soon. I've asked him to do a little bit of a job for me, and hopefully I can record that and show you that in next week's video. Anyway, so just before we go, just a massive shout out to all your support for watching these videos, liking these videos, commenting, and a big shout out to my patrons who help me every single week. So thank you so much, guys. Please stay safe, take care. I'll see you next week, and a massive cheers. Woohoo!